Congratulations! You are now the owner of game-changing technology, NeoGraft, the first minimally invasive automated hair transplant system. This video will provide you with basic installation and maintenance instructions of the unit. More detailed information is available through your NeoGraft sales representative. The first thing you are going to install on the unit is the metal bar which holds both handpieces. On the right side, the implanter, and on the left, the harvester or extractor. The metal bar attaches to the unit by lining up the two holes on the bar with the posts on the unit and pushing in. The implanter comes in two sections, the head of the implanter and the handle of the implanter. The handle screws into the head and the implanter is stored in the cradle on the right or implant side of the unit. The micro-punch harvester or extractor handpiece comes from the factory with the attached motor and cable. The harvester handpiece attaches to the cradle on the left or harvester side of the unit, and the cable plugs into the connector below. The fluid collection flask, which collects fluids during surgery, is installed onto the metal flask holder at the bottom of the front of the unit. The tubing set for the collection flask has 3 ports, one long, one medium, and one short. The collection flask tubing attaches to the short port on the top of the cap. The tubing set connects directly to the filter. The tubing set is installed by placing the cap on top of the collection flask and screwing it down. The tubing set is then pulled through to the back of the unit and connects to the port on the back left adjacent to the fan motor by pressing down until it locks. The harvesting punches are contained in a plastic case in a small plastic bag. Remove the case from the bag and open. The punches come in 3 various sizes with the system. The punch attaches to the harvester handpiece by pushing on the back of the handpiece head and pushing the punch in and turning it until it locks. Then replace the handpiece into its cradle. The collection canister, which collects the follicles as they are extracted, attaches to a black plastic figure-8 clip. The clip has a large side and a smaller side. The collection canister snaps into the larger side of the figure-8 clip. The smaller side snaps onto the harvester handpiece just below the ridge. Then replace the harvester into its cradle. This small pre-cut sterile tubing comes in a sterile tubing pack and it's installed onto the collection canister. Remove the canister from the figure-8 clip and attach one end of the tubing by sliding it onto the port on the top of the collection canister. Then snap the canister back onto the figure-8 clip and attach the other end of the tubing by sliding it onto the back of the harvester head. Also contained in a sterile tubing pack are 2 sets of tubes. One set is for harvesting and one set is for implanting. Open the pack and remove the tube sets. For the harvesting side, the smaller end of the tubing is installed on the port at the bottom of the collection canister attached to the harvesting handpiece by sliding it over the port. Take the larger end of the tube and attach it onto the only remaining port on top of the fluid collection flask. Once you have completed the extraction portion of the case, it is important to clean out the glass collection flask to prepare it for implantation use. The implanter tubing set is marked by blue bands around the ends of the tube. Remove the implanter handpiece from the cradle of the unit. Connect one end of the tube to the bottom of the implanter handpiece handle by sliding it on and turning to the right to lock. The smaller end of the tubing connects to the port on the side of the implanter handpiece head by sliding it over the port. Replace the implanter handpiece onto the cradle. Now connect the other ends of the tubing set. The other blue-banded tube is connected to port 2 on the right side front of the unit, marked Implanting Handpiece Connector, by pushing in and turning to the right to lock. The other end of the tube set is connected to the top of the fluid collection flask. Now move to the back of the unit, where you will see a warning label explaining the packing material contained inside the unit to protect the unit during shipping. There are 4 styrofoam blocks, 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. To remove the back panel, remove 8 screws that hold the panel to the back of the unit. After removing the screws, remove the back panel and remove the 4 styrofoam blocks. Just remove and discard the blocks. Then replace the back panel and replace the 8 screws to secure it to the back of the unit, and remove the warning label. Next, connect the power cord to the lower back of the unit and plug it into an appropriate power outlet. Next, connect the 2 foot pedals to the back of the unit just above the power cord. Port 1 is for the harvesting side and port 2 is for the implanting side. Connect the implanting cable by lining up the small notch on the cable with the notch on the port. Slide it in and screw it down tightly. Do the same with the implanting foot pedal into port number 2. Be careful to line up the notch on the cable with the notch on the port. To turn the NeoGraft unit on, simply press the power button on the top left back of the unit. On the back of the unit, there is a black knob on the top right that controls the implanter pressure. Pull the knob out and turn it to the left to decrease the implanter pressure and to the right to increase the implanter pressure. When you have dialed in the exact pressure that you desire, depress the knob to lock it in. The RPM motor knob on the front of the unit should typically be set at between 450 and 750 RPMs. This setting controls the speed at which the micro punch of the harvester spins when you depress the foot pedal. At the very end of every case, you must release the air that is compressed inside the system. To release the compressed air, simply turn the red valve at the very bottom of the back of the unit to the right. After the air is released, turn the valve to the left to close so that you are ready for the next case. Also, at the end of every case, you should clean and lubricate the harvester micro punch head. You should never use a cannula cleaner or pipe cleaner on the head because it may dislodge the rubber O-ring inside, and you would need to have that replaced. We recommend using a water pick. Alternate methods would be to use a spray bottle or a syringe with water to clean the head of debris. After you have finished thoroughly cleaning the punch head, soak it in a sterile solution. After soaking and sterilizing the harvester handpiece, you should thoroughly lubricate the barrel from the top and bottom. Be sure to get plenty of lubricant inside it. Then, just to be sure, we recommend working the lubricant into the gears by taking a punch, insert it into the head, and rotate the punch by hand to make sure the lubricant is worked into the gears. When done, wipe the excess lubricant from the outside of the handpiece with a paper towel.
Be sure not to autoclave the contra-angle harvester handpiece. This can ruin the rubber O-rings within.
For more detailed information, contact your NeoGraft sales representative or visit neograft.com.